All right,
Are we
so
recording? We're live.
yeah, we're live. We're live. So, hello everybody. This is Jason, and Will is joining me. This is the Good Anime Palette podcast. I don't even know what to call this. Will, what do we call this?
We'll just say these are just random thoughts in our head. Shower thoughts.
Shower
Sitting by the
thoughts. Yeah,
fireplace.
sure.
Yeah, these are our anime shower thoughts.
Will is currently at his humble abode, and I am in my room, and we are not recording in person in the, I don't know, do you call it recording studio? Should we just call it recording studio, right?
In our own respective studios. I'll say this first. It actually and this is just of course the fact that we're working as partners. It does feel weird recording and you're not around. It actually feels kind of weird.
Oh, so sweet.
No, because it's easier when you're like working with somebody. That it's easier to like vibe off of facial expressions, get more jokes, a little more like quick fire kind of razzle dazzles. Whereas
we could turn on a video feed, right?
We could.
No, I don't want to though. I don't want you to see like my stressed out face right now.
I'm like Jessica Hobo right now because I'm basically in my sleeping clothes, so we can keep it as is.
Dude, I'm in my boxers. I don't know.
Dude, this is exactly what it's like working from home. This is what it's like. Like basically, like you just roll out of bed like 15, 20 minutes before you're supposed to start working. You take a quick shower, brush your teeth, make a coffee, and then sit back on your desk and you start work. This is basically the same thing, except that like instead of doing shit that we don't like doing, we're actually doing something that we actually like doing.
I have to say though, this arm mount that I installed at home is like the best thing ever. I can just like move it around, and you should get it. I told you like there was a good deal for it, so
I probably should. But the thing is, like, I'm actually trying to rearrange a few things in the room. So I mean, you've already seen how many board games I've ordered and how many boxes I have stacked on my bookshelf. So things need to move around, things need to be moved in, and so once I get everything in its place and a place for everything, then I'll think about getting an arm mount. At the moment, I'm using the regular little desk stands, which serve me well. It's sturdy, and because the microphones we have are lightweight enough so that they don't sort of have my microphone stands like leaning to the side. Just in case anybody's interested, we're not using our regular microphones. We actually have different microphones we're using for our home setups.
It's dope, to be honest.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to be able to use it so soon for an actual Good Anime Palette podcast recording, so I'm pretty
It's
happy.
crazy the fact that we've been practically using like semi-professional, actually even professional equipment for our main podcast with episodes, but then with the home setup we're just plugging microphones straight into the computer using a USB, and it sounds great. Technology is awesome.
Okay. Yeah, technology is great. So, Will, what are we doing here today? Basically, let me give a primer to our listeners. So this is really off the cuff, impromptu recording session. I think Will, what was it, like 3 hours ago, 4 hours ago? 4 hours ago.
Yeah, I was getting ready to get off work, and then Jason was like, "Yo, you got anything going on tonight?" I was like, not much. Probably just watch a bunch of anime. And it's like, well, like I've got time. Do you want to try and record something? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And you're like, are you serious? Okay. I was just kind of floating it, and then I guess we're here now.
Yeah, that's
to
right.
be fair.
And
anytime we do like an after hours kind of like anime chit chat, whenever we get on Discord, we do like a group viewing and whatnot. Half the time we're not actually watching an anime. The other half of the time we're actually just talking shit. We're just having some fun, or maybe we're like voicing an opinion, or maybe even ranting about something that we've been watching lately.
I mean, I think that is how it all started, right? When we were on Discord, like watching anime together and just talking. And at some point, you and I were just like, why don't we just record something? Why? Like this is like a podcast episode in of itself, right? And then that repeats several times to the point where we're just like, we should just like sit down, plan this all out, and actually do it for realsies. So
plan it out, but at the same time, the way that we're doing things here, it's like a little more off the cuff, a little more impromptu. So basically, a lot of the stuff that we probably will talk about today, or any future of these kind of like shower thoughts episodes, they're going to be unrefined. I literally do not know half the time what we're going to be talking about. We're just basically rolling with it, right? I mean,
Oh yeah, I have no idea what we're talking about right now. As in, like,
Yeah.
we didn't plan a docket. We did talk about like what we could talk about, but even then, I was like, you know what? Let's just
it's
wing
too
it.
planned.
Let's just wing
it's
it.
too planned, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, anyways, actually earlier after I finished dinner, I had some time just to chill for a bit. So I was like, let's just crack open the Netflix and just see what else there is on the good old streaming platform. Just to see what else there is I can watch. It's starting to get a bit bare bones, but it's not like stuff is crap on Netflix now. It's more just the stuff that's on there and that they're putting onto the platform I've already watched, or it's stuff that like I will absolutely choose not to watch. Like, I refuse to watch Tokyo Ghoul. I refuse to watch Berserk 2016. So, I mean, like,
I mean,
I've
at the
already
end
watched...
of the day, right? Anime is I would say a good section of the Netflix catalog, and Netflix is pumping a lot of money into the anime front. But at the end of the day, Netflix also has a bunch of other live action stuff, like foreign, and by foreign I mean non-English speaking shows of all different languages. But if it's something like Crunchyroll or Funimation, they basically just do anime. So they're really focused and, I guess, sensitive about their catalog and how much licensing they can get. So I don't think Netflix is that concerned about it, really.
Well, I think the one concern they might have is to make sure that they have stuff that's watchable, stuff that's popular, which explains why they have shows like Dr. Stone, Naruto, Seven Deadly Sins, Assassination Classroom.
I mean, isn't the final season of Attack on Titan like aired like
it
a
was
couple
airing
of days after its actual air date?
Yeah, so I think they were doing it for a few other series as well, where like 3 or 4 days after the initial release of a certain series, they will also put it on Netflix. So it was cool. They were doing it for this. They were doing it for Haikyuu final season, or not the final season, to the top. Which was the latest season of Haikyuu? To the top?
It's to the top, but then they split it into 2 parts.
Yeah, so they were
it's like
also,
to the top
like,
season 1 and to the top season 2, but it's essentially yeah.
So they were airing those every few days after the initial release. They did the same thing for My Hero Academia season 4 or season 5. Season 5. That's season 5 right now.
Season 5 is the one airing now.
Yeah, so they're airing it every couple of days now on Netflix. But they'll also have some other classics too, right? They'll have like Trigun, they have Neon Genesis Evangelion, they have GTO. They even have stuff like Afro Samurai, Toradora, Agretzko, Astro Boy is on here too now. So I think like they're trying to get a wide enough range where it's like they have enough for like the old heads. They have enough for the newbies. They have enough for the ones who like sports, the ones who like dramas and romance, the ones who like edgy shit. I think it's like they try and pick what they perceive to be the most suitable shows for those specific clicks, and it works. I mean, like there's definitely a lot of stuff here that I've watched that I've definitely enjoyed. Like Hellsing Ultimate's fucking awesome. Astra Lost in Space, that's also another really good one. Devilman Crybaby, of course, it's a Netflix exclusive.
I mean,
yeah,
Agretzko is a Netflix exclusive,
and I like it. Agretzko is pretty fun. It's not, of course, something you need to binge, but an episode here and there just to refresh your palate. It's not bad. So now that I've been watching more and more stuff, it's getting to the point now where I'm like, this is it. I'm gonna have to start watching some sports anime now.
Oh Jesus!
It's not bad.
Okay.
It's not bad. We'll get more into it, later on, because we actually do want to save it as a specific topic. But your boy is now going into not just romance and fluffy shit, but also going into the sports anime. So let's see how vast my palette will be. Needs to add a couple more brushes, a couple more strokes to my palette.
Yeah, I think that's great, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't spend all my time just watching Scum's Wish, right? I can't just watch fucking Dorohedoro all the time. I gotta,
like on repeat.
Yeah, like, to be fair though, those shows are great. I really like those shows, but Am I gonna resort to watching like Dama Wonderland the anime or Gantz the anime, or maybe just suck it up and actually watch something good that I've been putting off for a while? Like shit, like March Comes in Like a Lion and Your Lion in April are also on Netflix, and I haven't cracked those open yet.
I mean, I would say March Comes in Like a Lion over Your Lion April easy. By the way, I just
Easy.
noticed. Did you see that news article that I posted to you?
No.
About my
is
anime
it an
list.
investment coming in?
Yeah, for my anime list.
What's going on
This
here?
time it's the Anime Times and Kadokawa. So,
DMM.com.
Yep, so- Yeah, so it's just like everyone just keeps pumping money into my anime list. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
That's good. I mean, I'm glad that they're doing it. I mean, the fact that you have like the 3 publishing companies pumping in some money in there too, like that's pretty awesome. It's like Kodansha, Sueisha, Shokakugan. I think the only one that isn't on there is Hakusensha. There may be other
Yes.
publishers. I don't know. I'm sure there's more publishers, but like I'd say like those are the big 4, right? Kodansha, Shueisha,
Yeah.
Shokakukan, Hakusensha. So I think we're getting to a point now where like more and more people are getting onto my anime list and using it as the de facto anime and manga database. So no matter what, like it's going to be pretty much on everyone's usage list. Everyone's going to be using it for as a directory to look for anime, using it as a message board or to talk to the community, open up like group pages to try and engage with the community. Yeah, I think this is good. I mean, it's not a huge amount of money, like just under 3 million US, but hey, like take what you can get. I actually have no idea how big my anime list is, but you can get some more of that my anime list stock and make the company better. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, we both use my anime list a lot. I think a lot of Western people use my anime list a lot. So having it expand and grow, and also hopefully, I mean, the main thing I really want is for the Mal app on my iPhone to include manga rather than just anime. That would be nice.
Baby steps, man. Baby steps.
But I mean, yeah, it's better than nothing. And for anime at least, the Mal app is pretty good, to be honest.
I think
So,
it
yeah.
does what it does what it needs to do. There's obviously room for improvement and growth, but like I'll take it. I mean, like, once it becomes as usable as the desktop version, then like I think you're pretty much set. Like there's not much else you need to do beyond that. I mean, like Mal, I use it for anything, literally anything for anime and manga related shit, right? Like keeping track of what I've been watching, putting scores down on for it, setting reminders of when something's going to be airing, and just keeping an idea of what to expect in the upcoming seasons, right? It's always nice just to have one consolidated platform where I can go and see what made the top 10 this week, and then looking into what's happening in summer 2021 or fall 2021, and getting announcements or like releases for trailers and MVs and all that. It's good to have all that just on one platform.
Yeah, it is. It'll be great. So, side note, I am looking forward to. It would be tomorrow, June 1st, but I think it's the American June 1st, so it would be our tomorrow night, right?
I mean, like, if you're going by East Coast timing plus 12 hours.
Yeah, so basically, usually a lot of anime, sorry, not anime, a lot of manga comes out on the Tuesday. So June 1st, for some weird reason, actually, I don't know if it's weird or not, all of a sudden, it's like a mammoth amount of manga, digital manga is being released. So I'm looking forward to quite a lot of stuff.
Hell yeah, you're looking forward to it. You've been on that manga train for a long goddamn time, man.
Yeah, I just can't stop
How
reading,
how
dude.
many times whenever like we're talking about like getting prepared for upcoming episodes, and you'd be like, well, so I was supposed to do so and so research, but I spent the last 2 hours reading this shoujo manga, and I can't get out of this rabbit hole. Help me.
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, this Yuri girl love manga is pretty good. Will help
I mean,
me. I
there was a period of time where it was just like, yo, Will, are you ever gonna get around to finishing that docket? Or are you ever gonna start adding more stuff? It's like, no, sorry, I'm reading JoJo right now. I'll get back to you later. Okay, well, are you ready now? No, sorry. Like One Piece is out. Like I gotta go read some One Piece. I'll catch you later.
oh
So
sorry,
look,
domestic girlfriend and Scum's Wish, and
domestic.
I was just like,
So, hey, look, Scum's Wish was a quick read. I think it was only up to like 80 chapters total, but Domestic Girlfriend, that one like took a long time. It was a major part of my life for a while. And
yeah.
oh,
I mean, Dorohedoro as well, right?
see, here's the thing. I knew Dorohedoro was gonna be good just straight from watching the first episode, but then like I read fucking Domestic Girlfriend as a fucking meme, dude. Like I was just so ready to shit on it. But then like the more I started reading it, the more I was like, wow, I really want this ship to happen. Oh wow, I don't want this ship to end. Wow, I wonder if these two are ever gonna get together. Oh my god, they're together. And I'm just like, next thing you know, I'm like halfway through this 240 chapter fucking manga about literally a domestic relationship between three step siblings. And I was like, wow. I was so ready to hate on it. I was so ready to talk shit, and then I got sucked in, and now I'm a Domekano fan, a really big
Yeah.
Domek. I mean, of course, yeah, endings, leaves much to be desired, but overall, it was a great time. It was a great time reading that shit, and I would never like, give it up for anything else. I would if I had a chance to refresh and read it all over again, I absolutely would.
I mean, I think since December of last year, so approximately a month before we started the podcast, was when I mean, we talked about this where we started getting on the manga train, and legitimately, with the exception of maybe certain anime series that I wanted to, see the conclusion of, and it was only in manga form, that I decided to pursue the manga. Like, honestly, like at that point, 95% of what I consumed was anime, and maybe 5, if not less, was manga itself.
Well, let me
But
put it
then
this way:
now,
like, how many times have there been like you've been reading, or you've been watching an anime, and then when the anime ended, you're like, no, I have to know what happens next. I have to like whether it's already like a completed series or whether it's a series that's still ongoing. You're like, no matter what, like I gotta find out how to get the rest of this shit
ooh, did you hear
and
that?
start.
I heard some thunder outside. Holy shit!
It's a fuck yeah, dude. It's gonna be thunderstorms all night. It's gonna be rain all week. It's because there's a tropical storm right now in the Philippines, and it's slowly making its way over here. It's only traveling at like 16 miles an hour, so it's really taking its time coming over here, which is why we have this whole week long of low depression and low pressure, and dude, it was so uncomfortable today being outside, like seeing the clouds being so dark and gray, and then like it's going to rain, but when it doesn't, you just feel like the moisture, the pressure like on your shoulders. It's just like, and then like you're not sweating, you're just really really wet and humid. I just need this rain to come down. I just need like all this rain just wash down one day, clear it out. I know we still have humid summers in Hong Kong, but at the very least, like, just come on, man. I hope it's just a little bit more comfortable, you know?
Look, I don't want to like inject in real life events into this, but I had like no idea what was going on around me all day because I was just so stressed out and distracted. Like I couldn't even read manga today for a lot of it. Like I was just like, not biting my nails, but like just so impatient. And now I'm okay because grades
Oh, yeah.
came out, so it's
Big,
pretty
big,
good.
big announcement. Your boy Jason is a second time master's, well, a 2-time master's graduate, not a second time. That would assume you failed
Yeah.
the first time.
Yeah, no, I did not fail the first time, but yeah, I think I finished my degree in biomedical engineering, Masters of Science. So I'm pretty excited. But this means now I have
And
to
then
find
there's
a
going to
job.
be a massive graduation ceremony party in November. So hopefully things open up a bit. We're able to get, a small crowd out. And we're going to celebrate, man. We're going to have some fun, man.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing pretty good with your job too at the moment, right?
Yeah, I mean, tired, stressed. But to be fair, like, what job wouldn't make you tired and feel stressed anyway, right? Like, I'm doing what I can, and I'm getting by day by day. Yeah,
I
there's really
mean, I
not
mean,
much else to do.
this podcast is basically a part-time job. I mean, I love it, but it is not all like
Oh, this thing does
rosy.
not make itself, right? Like you can't just go in there, sit down, talk, and then that's it, right? These things that we do, like are like days, weeks, even months in ahead of planning. Being able to spend time to actually flesh out scripts, talk about topics, and then like after recording it, then also making sure that we like do the proper sound editing so everything sounds nice. This one's gonna be interesting this time because we're recording in two different locations. It'll be interesting to see how the editing process compares to when we usually do our recordings.
Yeah, let's hope it doesn't get too complicated. But a lot of our friends, or like some of my friends that you don't know about, that I started the podcast, were all like, a lot of them had the sentiment that was like, hey Jason, you started this podcast which is about anime and manga, which is something that you're passionate about. Wouldn't it just be great, talking about things that you like, and it shouldn't really impede your consumption because you do it anyways. But surprisingly, it has changed the way that I consume anime and manga. Actually, less about manga. Actually, almost all of it that was dramatically changed was anime. Manga was just an addition. So, I don't know about you, Will, but before I used to just not, because I didn't have a podcast to, put pressure on the things that I consume. I just consumed everything at my leisure, whether it's backlog or seasonal, or I don't get too hung up on certain things. But now my watching habit has changed, and I would say one of the things that is quite liberating is I drop series way faster than I would have. Sometimes I would just be super stubborn and, finish the anime even though I didn't like it, or just so that I can not give it a good score, because personally, I don't like, at least with anime, I don't like giving it a score if I cannot finish it. So I just now drop a lot of stuff, and I don't rate stuff that I drop. So what about you?
No, I agree with you. I feel the same way. At least like when putting together the podcast, you have a little more direction in terms of how to watch things. So it's like oh, we're going to be preparing for a horror episode. So this is a good opportunity to watch up on some stuff that like I haven't watched before, or like actually start something that like I had on my watch list for like the longest time. Like if it wasn't for doing the horror series, the horror episode that we were doing, a couple weeks back, I wouldn't have picked up watching Mononoke, right? I wouldn't have reread some of Tomie and Gyo. I wouldn't have checked the Starving Anonymous if it wasn't for you checking it out in the first place. So now it's like giving yourself the impetus and the direction in picking things up. That's one thing that's changed in terms of like my anime/manga consumption. But I do agree that I'm much more compelled to drop something if by like the third or fourth episode I feel it's going to be a waste of time, or like I know I'm not gonna dedicate enough attention to finishing it. So that's why, like for example, like Nagatoro-san, there was no way I was gonna finish that. SSSS the Nezanon, as much as I would try to like it, like I just felt there were too many similarities to Gridman, and you and I kind of struggled finishing Gridman, right? Like it wasn't a bad show, but it wasn't like there wasn't something that really gripped us and kept us going. Like after
To
like
be
you
honest,
watched all the Tokusatsu stuff, like all like the live action like Ultraman, like the Gridman transformation scenes, it was hard for me to really be like, yeah, I'm gonna give this an 8 or I'm gonna give this a 9. It was like I think 7 was already like the best it was going to be, and it kind of sucks when you go past that 3 or 4 episode timeline and then you're realizing that the best you're ever going to give something is like a relatively adequate score, a relatively average score.
Yeah, and I would say with Gridman in particular, the thing that was most interesting about it was not, the kaiju fighting and all that stuff, actually.
It was the anime thighs. And even
Oh,
then,
yeah,
there was only
and
a
purple
total
hair
of like
girl,
10.
so-
There was only like a total of like what, a minute of like thigh across all episodes.
Yeah.
It was like
If you want
oh,
thighs,
man.
you should
Disappointing.
if you want thighs, you should watch Lily Bouquet. So
or just watch
Really
or just
assault
watch
bouquet.
Mirror Tights.
yeah, sure, watch Mirror Tights. Oh god,
Mirror Tights
that's
is literally
just,
just
oh.
thighs.
What was it, like 8 minutes of just? Okay.
It's gratuitous, but yo,
It is so suggestive. It's just like fuck, dude.
like
Come
you
on.
literally like it's like people are like, oh yeah, I watched Mirror Tights for the plot. It's like, nah, go fuck yourself. Like you're fucking lying. I don't even know what the plot of Mirror Tights is. As soon as the girls get out of the fucking car and into the rain with their umbrellas, and then they start putting their shoes off and getting into school, I was just like, thighs. There's nothing else that I remember from the show.
I remember there was one episode where one of the girls, her tights, like tore, and then she had to like replace her tights, and it was the most uncomfortable thing ever because she like the camera angles and everything was just so suggestive to the point where I was just like, "Ugh, okay, I know what you're doing, and like if I was into it, I would be super into it, but I'm not into it. So I mean, if you're into it, all the more power to you, but I'm not into it. So, yeah. But hey, I mean, some people think some of my tastes are weird. Like, why do you like Kudures, Jason? Like, why? But I don't know.
Hey, to be fair though, like I think Kudere is like they deserve some love. Like if they find it weird for you to like Kuderes, then that just means there's more Kuderes for you to like. That's it. Like keep it for yourself.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
To be fair,
Yeah.
like look, like I would much like Kuderes in real life much better than a Tsundere.
Well, yeah. I mean, I won't even consider dating a tsundere in real life.
Look, I think like just the main thing
I would
when it
put
comes
up with
to,
one.
Yeah, I think the main appeal, as we've talked before about Tsundere, is just that people like to see conflict, right? And if it means that like there's conflict within like a love relationship, then sure, like people will sign up for it because they want to see people break down walls and get someone to warm up. And seeing a Tsundere go from 100% hothead to 100% lovey-dovey, like that's a big transformation. Whereas a Kudere transformation is someone who's quiet and silent, and then someone who's quiet and silent but with a smile on their face. Like that's just it. But when you do finally get to see that smile, you're like, that's a real heartwarming shit. You broke the Kudere. The Kudere is finally opening up.
Yeah,
That's how I
so-
felt when I was watching My Little Monster.
Yeah, I should probably watch
I really like it.
and then read
I don't
it.
think there's probably never going to be a second season, but like it ends conclusively enough. And if I do want to get into the rest of My Little Monster, then I can always check out the manga, I guess.
Because My Little Monster, the manga magazine that serialized it is called Dessert,
Yeah.
and I realized that a lot of the shoujo stuff that I read is from Dessert. So I'm just like, all right, okay, I'll add it to the list. I mean, that's the
Check
other
it
thing,
out.
right?
All 13 volumes is officially translated, so go ahead and just pick it up.
Yeah, right now I'm reading Say I Love You, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah,
and you
I
you
mean,
know damn well that we have anime homework we need to do, Jason. And you're cheating on your
Whoa.
homework with shoujo manga.
at least
Don't
it's
you
not-
have enough dessert, Jason?
No. Are you saying I'm fat?
No. What? I'm saying you're sweet.
I'm joking. That was a
Like
self-deprecation
diabetically sweet.
right there. Yeah, insulin, right? I need anime insulin, and anime insulin is what? Sports?
Yeah. Okay. So we probably shouldn't talk too much about the sports stuff, but I will just say this about Haikyuu.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like
What you got?
Hinata.
Oh, yeah. He is... he's not... Out of all of everyone, he is the least interesting to me.
Like
I don't
always,
think he is a bad character,
it's
but
always
I don't...
it's always that like the thing I realize about these sort of shows, this is not just sports, right? This is just shonen in general. Is you always want to see that rough and tumble, like loudmouth kid who just shows the world that just because on the outside they might be a loser or they might be a misfit doesn't mean that they can't succeed. I mean, it's like
You know,
you
like
have
dream
that
big,
with fucking
right?
yeah, you have that with fucking Naruto. You have that in Black Clover. You have that in any like even okay. Luffy from One Piece is also a loudmouth dumbass, but at least he's written in a way that you can actually relate and like him. Whereas like Naruto, no, he's just a little cunt that happens to have the Nine Tails power in him,
You
and
mean
therefore he's
Hinata, not
powerful than everyone else.
Naruto?
I'm saying yeah, Naruto. I'm not saying Hinata. I'm saying Naruto from
Oh,
Naruto.
okay. My bad.
Yeah, no. Hinata from Naruto was awesome. Let's not talk shit about her. She's fucking great. Hinata
No, I meant
from
Hinata
Haikyuu
from
is on the
Haikyuu.
other hand is I don't look. I get it. You know, you're shorter than the average volleyball player, but you're fast and you're agile and you've got good reflexes. But you're also shit when it comes to your position ability, your reading of the game, your overall teamwork. And one thing I noticed about this show too, it's like the main thing about Haikyuu is it's not about technical ability. It's not about the fandom within like the anime itself. It's not about you being the best in your position. It's not even about friendship and teamwork. It's about respect. That's it. As long as you respect each other, you will do well, and that's it so far. I don't know.
How far have you gotten right now?
I'm at the first friendly with the other school, Abo Jose or whatever it is.
Oh, the big dudes.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh no, not Abo Jose. Abo
No.
Jose is the setter, the famous setter, who is Kageyama's senpai.
I'm talking about the school. I thought Abo Jose was
Yeah.
the school.
Yeah, Abo Jose is the school,
Yeah.
but in that team, they all dressed in green
White.
and white, and
They're
the
just
setter
white and-
is
white and
Kageyama's senpai.
white and blue. But yes, that's because like the last episode I watched, they introduced, hey, wait a minute, that's not the regular setter, and then they pan, and then new setter's here now. So yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So the team is assembled.
Pretty much. But I mean, like, I feel like I'm still a long way before anything major happens.
I mean,
To be fair,
all
though, I
the
think like, that
complaints that you
episode was the episode. I'm not having complaints. I'm just giving you my perspective on the show.
Oh no, I get that. It's just interesting that my thoughts were similar, and then everything shifts over time for real. Yeah. So
Let's see. So I'm on episode 6. So like I'm barely 1/4 of the way through season 1. And then I think there is another whole 4 seasons afterwards. Yeah, 25 episodes of Haikyuu 2, 10 for the Karasuno High School versus blah, 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 Academy, and then 25 episodes up to the top.
yeah. So there you go. I still have to watch Eye Shield, so I'll get around to it.
You better. iShield's fucking
Yeah.
great.
I mean,
dude.
that was the promise, right? So I will do that at the very least.
iShield 21 is so goddamn good.
I mean, I can say the same thing about Haikyuu.
Too
right?
bad like they never actually ended up giving it the HD remake it deserves. If they ever did, I would be really fucking happy with it. But I think like it's been so
Yeah.
long now. I mean, like, dude, like the fucking manga came out like back in 2002. Like, it's almost been 20
Mhm.
years. I very much doubt they're ever going to revamp that shit.
I mean, there's no reason to, right?
Nah. But if anything, just read the manga, man. It's the artwork's fucking amazing. It's Murata,
Yeah,
man.
I see. That's also another shift in my thinking. It used to be for me that it was anime or pretty much nothing. I mean, unless if I had to, I would read the manga. But even then, I was like, nah, no dice. It's just straight anime, and I have definitely warmed up significantly towards reading manga. And I used to be so judgmental against people who say like, "Oh, the manga is better," but in some cases, or in like I would say half the time, the manga is better. But then the other half of the time, the anime adds enough to it that it is good. And I think that I used to be so, biased towards only preferring anime that I have been ignoring manga. Now, if you say, "Hey, okay, Jason, what about visual novels and light novels?" I'm like, "Hey, slow down, buddy. One step at a time, all right?" Like, and I think also
Look,
light novels and
I think
visual
it
novels are
it,
books.
it takes a long
I
time. It takes a long time to get yourself into visual. Dude, like I got the fucking like first chapter of Higurashi free on Steam, and I can't make it past like the first part when they're in the classroom. It takes so long, man. Like reading a manga, like if say for example you read manga for like 160 hours, you would expect to finish like a whole 28 volume, maybe even 30 volume manga. But 160 hours is finishing one chapter or like one of fucking Higurashi. Like I can't do that.
And I feel
Like
like with light novels that it is basically a book with intermittent pictures. And to me then that like it kind of is just too far from anime and manga to me that don't think I can really get into it. Maybe I'll be wrong and I'll eat my words like I don't know 6 months from now or whatever or a year, but right now I feel like the hurdle to be able to consume light novels on a regular basis to me sounds so foreign that I don't know if I'll even get there at any point.
well, I mean, you've like spent time before reading other literature, right? Like I'm sure you've read like you've read all of the George R. R. Martin books, right? Or like some of them. Like
No.
I'm sure like
Nope.
you haven't watched any of them, right?
Not
Read any
even
of
a
them? Okay.
single page of the George R. R. Martin Game of Thrones books have I read. I've read
Right.
0.
When was the last time you read a book?
Good question. Obviously textbooks don't count, right?
No, hell no. Of course not. We're talking literature.
Then it's been a long ass time.
I think the
I
last
would
time
say
I
the last
properly sat down and read a book was it was a Stephen King book. It wasn't The Shining. The Shining I read way before that. It was Hearts in Atlantis. Hearts in Atlantis. That was the last book I read, and that was almost 10 years ago. I remember like I was reading
I
it.
remember the last 2 books I read. That was, let's see, maybe 6-7 years ago. I read them both, obviously not simultaneously, but concurrently, right? As in, like,
Yeah.
I would read some of that, the first book number 1, and then when I get a little bit bored or wanted to switch gears, I will read book number 2. And those 2 books were The Time Traveler's Wife and American Gods.
Nice.
So,
So
I
what
really
what
love
led you
both of those
to-
books.
Do you remember what led you to stop reading, or like maybe like why it is that you've been passing up on reading like books?
Oh,
I mean,
very
of course,
simple.
like
It is because I was reading too many medical textbooks and I didn't want to stare at words excessively.
okay.
I mean, maybe that's very reductivist, but I mean, I guess that's also why I was hesitant to get back into manga because I was just like, well, anime, why not? That's like not really words. I mean, yes, I am reading subtitles, but it's different, I guess. I don't know.
I think it's just one of those things where like when you consume anime, manga, or it's just basically like stuff you do like, during your downtime, like the less you have to use your brain, the better, right? Like when you're
No, I mean,
watching
I want to
anime,
get
a lot.
stimulated,
Okay,
but
so
it's just
so
more
so what
like,
is it? Hmm.
I don't know. I just obviously, for example, the words of the subtitles in anime were not medical textbooks. Were not, very complex descriptors that you would find in a novel, right? It's mostly conversational. I mean, you
Yeah.
would get like
So
technical
therefore,
terms.
so therefore you're not really using your brain as much, right? Like a lot of the stuff is already
Okay,
given
yeah,
and
okay,
explained to you, as opposed
yeah,
to
okay.
like if
That's
you were
fair. That's
reading a
fair. That's
yeah,
fair.
yeah, if you're reading literature, it's like a lot of times after reading it, you would still need to create like a mental image, or at least maybe attach voices to certain characters to be able to create a scene, right? Whereas if you're reading manga, and even more so when you're watching anime or just any TV show in general, the whole thing is played out in front of you. So like it's just up to you to use as much brain power as you want to consume and like absorb everything you're seeing. It's just easier than like if you were to pick up a book now. I think like if I was to read a book, sure, no problem, but like I definitely won't be as adept and as quick in reading and creatively creating stuff like at the top of my mind. So like back then like I would read the shit out of Stephen King books. I would read the shit out of Harry Potter because I had a much more active imagination to be able to read the texts and be able to have a mental image of how Harry Potter looks like, right? Or how like the agents in Hearts of Atlantis would look like. It was really easy. Now like more just like I'm just tired at the end of the day. Like yeah, give me like a psycho thriller or give me like a mystery anime and like I'll just watch it. There'll be some like real thrill seeking, some like some brain tensy kind of moments, but for the most part, I don't have to work hard to understand what I'm watching.
Right, but I mean, I agree with you 100%, but I think the same thing can be said for some people that even we both know, where they would say, no, 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 watching something live action or anime is too stressful, it's too much stimuli, but it's too much stimulus, but oh, reading a book is calming, it's soothing to me. So, different strokes for different folks, right? So,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
so yeah, so we're not judging one way or the other. It's just more like what works for you and what doesn't work for you. That's it. And as long as you don't, insult someone, then doesn't matter what you do really, or break the law or whatever. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, you mean as long as like someone's doing something that doesn't like impose on your own free will, then like I don't give a fuck what you
Or
read
others.
or watch, right? Like if you like light novels, sure, go ahead. If you play visual novels and spend like 200 hours on one novel, go right ahead, right? Like, but like if it gets to a point where like if I'm trying to watch something and you constantly berate me for like not going by the OG source or like totally like the anime adaptation is like a farce compared to what the original light novel or visual novel was like. It's like, bro, like let me just watch this shit in peace, man. Like it's up to you, right? How you want to consume your shit. Some people like books. Some people like anime. Some people like movies. Some people like comics. Why should it matter? Like that like you have to like what I like, or like you have to give me the opinion that what I like is shit. Everyone has poor
Because
taste.
we live in a
fine, whatever, but
polarizing
it's like,
society, really. If you want the real answer, it's like that's you typecast people, you categorize people. That's why, But I mean, I don't want to get too much into kind of that kind of discussion.
the social elements of liking manga and anime.
Oh, but one thing I don't.
Doing everything we can to drive us apart, even though we
But one
all
thing
fall under the same umbrella.
Yeah, one thing I definitely don't like though is the amount of dumb harem MCs that are out there. Like, just come on, give me. I mean, I know we're jumping from topic to topic, but this thought just came into my mind. Like, it grates me that like people can be, even MCs can be so dense in a harem that it's just like,
Well, how many shows have you watched where like you're just looking at the main character, you're just like, man, you really cannot be this dense. You cannot be this dumb. But like
Uh,
people for some reason like mop that shit up. They fucking love it. It gets infuriating for me because it's more just like incompetence and fucking like it just gets awkward and cringy after a while.
So there is a harem anime which has 2 seasons and a bunch of specials, and I think it's based on a light novel called Infinite Stratus.
I've heard of it, yeah.
And the MC is just like the male MC is like surrounded by all these like myriad of women, and I have to say the guy is so dense. It is. I'm like lost for words. I have to say like top 5 dumbest main characters, even if we include all other genres, not just harem. This guy from Infinite Stratus is pretty dumb. Is pretty dense.
So I was just browsing Reddit, and because you're talking about like dense MCs and all that, right? And then like someone posted, I think the reason why dense MCs attract such a big harem, like so many girls, is because their density is so strong it creates a gravity field and it naturally forms a harem.
That's good. That's good. Oh my
That's just straight science, bro. The Big Bang Theory, that shit.
Oh my god, that is so good.
That's fucking fantastic, right? Jesus. Sometimes it's like, when we talk about like the anime fandom, like yeah, you get your toxic circles, but it's these little nuggets of brilliance. I'm just like, oh, thank you for restoring my faith in anime and manga.
Clap for mysterious anonymous Reddit user. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. But I do I just see where you're coming from, right? I don't really watch or read much harem stuff, but like even I can tell like it's a plague in the industry in the genre when you have this just really really stupid MC and you have so many like love interests around them, and you're just like you're sitting there and watching them, and you're so frustrated that like this person's not doing what you would do or others would do. But I don't know. Like, do you think it's just like a result of just bad writing? Do you think it's like
or
like,
wish fulfillment? I don't know. Actually. I don't know. I really don't.
Because it's like harems usually it's like yes, you understand like why people like watching this is because like oh, like I can't get a girlfriend, but this guy can get 5. So like how's that fair? But so you watch them vicariously, right? You try and live their life, but what is it like? Why do people care so much about like what do people like hate having dense MCs? But there's always so many of them.
I feel that I mean, this idea just popped into my head, but it could be that dense MCs makes it easier for characters to create banter and interact with one another and create conflict. Because
so
if you were to get someone with a modicum of it. Mm-hmm.
So you say that you would say that the dense MC is used to allow other characters around them to grow.
I wouldn't say grow, but to interact.
Right.
Maybe grow as well, but sometimes some harem ecchi shows doesn't have a lot of growth or development in any of the characters, really.
Yeah, like for example, like Ichigo 100%. I remember like most of the girls that were in the show, but I do not remember a single thing about the MC.
You know, when it comes to harem MCs, though, one of my most favorite harem MCs is from Fruits of Grisaya.
Yes.
Because that MC is like on his shit. Like he is. He knows what's going on. Like he is fully like smart, capable, understands everything, very witty. Is like one of the things that I really like about Fruits of Grisaya is the MC himself. Yuji, I think is his name.
Mm-hmm. I remember watching an episode with you, but it was just really fucking weird. The show was weird as shit.
Oh yeah, it is weird. The first episode was weird, but I really love it. So
yeah, I don't hate on it. Like for sure, like I could see that like there's some enjoyment out of the show. I think it's just at the time I had other things I wanted to watch. But it's cool that you got into it a lot more. And it's also good to hear that at least like with these kind of like genres, you don't just have one really stupid MC every single time. Like it's for sure a trope, right? Like you can find many of these harem slash etchy kind of well, more harem than anything, but like more like you always find that one MC that you feel like is one brain cell away from having more than zero.
Right.
They're just not the brightest bulb in the bunch.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so maybe there is a bit of wish fulfillment in that people might, see all this dense MCs and be like, well, I can do a better job. And this is what I would do. I would do XYZ. And then maybe that's part of the appeal. I don't know. Because I can't really see the appeal, or at least a very obvious appeal of a dense MC from like a character perspective.
It's basically just to try and get others to promote discourse. That's it.
Right, as
They
I
just
said,
want to
exactly.
basically, yeah, that's basically it. Like they just want to be like, yo, you want to watch this harem, right? Well, we're gonna give you like the worst person to be in this harem, and really, really grind you down and see if you can get through this. And if you don't get through this, then you can talk to your other friends and bitch about it. But you're gonna come back because you still care about this harem.
Yeah, well,
No, I haven't really watched or read much harem lately at all. I think what have I been watching lately? Well, on one hand, I've been busy as shit, so like really, I have not been. I've been slacking so fucking bad. I think the last thing I read was. I think the last thing I read was. What did Starving Anonymous. I think that was the last thing I read. And then the last thing I watched was watching Shirobako with you.
I don't think like it's too bad that we we did I mean, wasn't it like not so long ago when I was doing exams that I was just not being able to do much really.
True.
And,
True.
So, and it's not like I don't know that you want to do it. It's just that like sometimes you're just dead tired or knee deep in work that you can't do it. And I mean, that's the other thing that I get. Another question I get a lot is why don't you do it weekly? And I'm just like,
no fucking
dude, that's
way.
no, dude, like, no.
Just for this upcoming episode that we're doing in 2 weeks, right? Like, I think we won't go too much into it, but goddamn, the amount of work that we have to put into it. For me alone, there is like 10 plus anime series I need to watch in order to get up to speed for it. So imagine doing that in 1 week's time. I'm not gonna. I don't need to watch all of it. I just need to be able to consume at least those so that I know what I'm talking about. I don't have to watch everything. If I did watch everything, there's no way. There's no way. Like for example, I don't think I'd be able to watch all of Haikyuu between now and then.
No, I mean I don't expect you to either.
Yeah, but like I think at the very least, it's like I should be like a little bit more on top of the genre of whatever you watch, whether it's horror, comedy, romance, sports, whatever. At the very least, like try and get as broad understanding as possible, so I'm not like talking out of my ass when I'm trying to explain something. So imagine trying to do that on a weekly schedule. Like that's like, fuck, dude. Like I'd be way more burnt out doing this than my actual job.
Yeah. Although I have to say though, one of the things that I've realized is that slowly over time, your taste in anime has been getting more and more broad, which I think is one of the main reasons why you decided to watch anime with me or like start the podcast as well, right?
I think it's also because of the fact that I've watched and read a lot of like edgy shit already, like that. Like there really is not much else, not much else I need to consume. So it's like, well, I guess like, do I just like not read and watch anime and manga anymore, or like do I just start watching other stuff? That's why I started, watching like Fruits Baskets. Why I watched Arohana. That's why I watched My Little Monster, and like it's cool. It's nice. Reading Domestic Girlfriends. Like, it's edgy romance, but at the very least, it's not like dark, bloody, gory, edgy. Like I could just keep reading, all the dark, edgy shit. But after a while, it's like just change things up. Like every time I look at my list, it's like if I'm gonna be consistently watching and reading Tokyo Ghoul, Deadman Wonderland, Future Diary, Dorohedoro, Hellsing Ultimate, Devilman Crybaby, Dororo, and all that. Like, it gets boring after a while, right? Like after a while, it's like you constantly trying to feel that new thrill seek, but because like you're just so desensitized from the genre, from like that space, that really like what difference does it make that I'm watching another edgy show? But then all of a sudden, like, you know what? Oh, Anohana's on Netflix now. I'm gonna watch it. I cried every single fucking episode. No show has ever done that for me. Fuck, I even watched Violet
I'm still
Evergarden.
really scared to watch Anohana purely because like I will be an emotional wreck, and I'm like scared because I don't know when would be a good time to be an emotional wreck, because usually that time is never.
Dude, I don't cry that much, right? Like I never actually fully cried when watching Violet Evergarden, but I definitely teared up on certain episodes. But watching Anohana, I fucking bawled my eyes out every episode. It was not fun, but it was also like wow, like there hasn't been many shows, even like live action, like movie or TV, that has put me to the brink of just like breaking down like that. But then after watching it, having this sense of fulfillment, and like I after that, I just went out and I just hugged my parents, man. I just hugged my family. I hugged people. I talked to you. I was just like, I think I'm gonna be okay, but right now I'm not.
Yeah,
You know, it's hard. It's hard to find those kinds of emotional triggers when like you're constantly watching. I don't know, like for example, like, imagine you're watching Vinland Saga, and then right afterwards you're reading Monster, and then right after that you're watching Code Geass, and then right after that you're watching Attack on Titan, and then like after that you're watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Like, you know, like it's cool, but God, like imagine eating steak every day. Like you would at some point just lose your taste buds, right? You got to change it up. I mean, it's also no surprise too, like when like talking about my favorite anime and all that stuff, all the dark edgy shit. Not all of them are like, in my top 10. In fact, like stuff that's in my top 10 are like Anohana, like fucking like Tatami Galaxy, Ping Pong. Those shows like are not dark, edgy, or action, but like they're fucking beautiful works of art. And like like, even fucking like High Score Girl, you know, I'll carry those to my grave. Like those are like my top 10.
yeah. I mean, I think just because
I am waiting for the
it
day when we
is-
are able to actually consume enough Fruits Basket to watch the final season together and see how good it is, because I am still.
I mean, for
fucking
better or for worse,
amazed.
we have an impending deadline. Whether that deadline is, I mean, that deadline is not like close, but we have an impending deadline. So, you know, I think we're gonna have to watch it sooner rather
It's-
than later.
It's gone up in the rankings again.
Oh shit!
I think
Really?
if-
Hold
I
on.
think if you-
Let me.
It went from, okay, it's very minor, very minor. It went from 8.91 to 8.92, but that's enough to put it 17th overall on the top anime series list for my anime list.
That's insane.
Just TV shows alone. So this doesn't include like OVAs, ONAs, movies, specials. This is just anime series. It's 13th. Like it's
my
literally just if it gets a solid 9.00, it will crack the top 10.
Oh god.
Right now in 10th overall for all anime, manga, anime, movies, OVAs, series, everything. March Comes in Like a Lion season 2 is holding an 8.99 right now in 10th. It's really not that far, but Jesus, like we got to watch
I have
it,
to
right?
know. I have to
we
know.
have
No,
to.
we have to. Not only because we have to, but because we kind of set ourselves a deadline, so we have to. I mean,
Hey,
I mean that's one of the
this as
things
well?
that I like about the
Mhm.
podcast, which is that we sometimes would think of topics that would coincide with some of our plan to watch stuff, such that it would force both of us to basically consume stuff that we normally would want to consume anyways, but because there's just so much to choose, we didn't decide to not choose any of those things and consume what's in front of us. So
dude,
having,
like for example, like
yeah.
when we're doing the horror one, right? It's like, oh, what should we read? Oh, Trail of Blood's on the list. Fuck yeah, we should totally read Trail of Blood because it's really fucking awesome, right? If it's like fucking sports anime, or like maybe we're doing like a review of a certain studio or a certain director or whatnot, it gives you the opportunity to start something that you've always had on your list and you could actually finally crack it open. You know, like you said, right? Like it gives you that motivation, or at least that direction to be like, okay, like no need to slack now. Like this is definitely like homework. Time to start it. Time to actually crack it open and start watching it or reading it. Before you're just kind of like, what's on the top 50 list? Okay, so I've watched this. I've watched this. I've watched that. I'll watch that. Oh, but it's not on Crunchyroll. Oh, it's not on Netflix. Maybe I'll watch something else. Oh, I watched this. Oh, but this one came out like back in 2005. So maybe I'll watch it. Now it's more just like, okay, we'll find a way to consume what we need to. When we find the sources, we'll watch it. We'll come back to it, and then we realize, wow, I don't know why we took so long to get onto it, but I'm glad we finally cracked it open.
Hey guys, this is Jason from the Good Anime Palette podcast. So, what you just heard was a recording session with Will and I when we were, testing out our home equipment and just shooting the shit. So, we actually went way over. We almost had like 2 hours worth of content, and we didn't want to put it out all at once. So, what we did is we split that session that we recorded into 2 parts, and you're now listening to the end of the first part, basically. And we will release the second part, sometime later. So, yeah, we don't know whether or not this is going to be a thing that we regularly do or when to release it, unlike our Numbered or After Darks. But we had a lot of fun because, as you heard in, this episode, that we just do this all the time. So, and that's how the Good Anime Palette podcast started. So, no music credits, of course. No, if you want to reach us, you can reach us at our email. You can reach us at our Twitter. I don't really want our main goal here is not really to promote anything. It's more like if it's very informal, and if you want to sort of have like a more laid back conversation, like hearing Will and I have a very laid back conversation, then this is basically it, bits and pieces. We called it Anime Shower Thoughts, but then we thought that was, well, too concrete. Believe it or not, it was just bits and pieces, bits and pieces of what we're talking about, because we jump from topic to topic and stuff like that. So one thing I do like to add, though, is if you are interested in this kind of conversation that we're having, just let us know through our email or Twitter. But another thing I want to push, though, is our Discord server. So if you just want to just chat with us or hear us chat like you just heard, you should join our Discord server. The invite would be in the show description. And we just like to hear from you and hear what you guys are up to, what you've been watching, what you've been reading, and what you like and don't like. So, yeah, and maybe, I haven't talked to Will about this personally, but maybe we could have a bunch of people on Bits and Pieces, and we just talk and bond over anime and manga. So, yeah, this is very free flow. Bits and Pieces is very free flow, so we don't really know what to make of it. So any input from you guys would be nice. And if you want to join us on Discord and just chat with us about anything, that's awesome too. Yeah, I think that's about it. See you in part 2. Catch you later.